Okay, welcome everybody to session 3 with David Miyashiro. The title is Developing the Culture That Will Support a Career and Community Readiness Approach at All Grade Levels. David is the superintendent at Cajon Valley School District in San Diego. David has paved the way for connecting career exploration and career readiness to schools. He's a forward-thinking and an award-winning leader and has done some amazing work. Appreciate you joining us, David.
Good morning or good afternoon, Scott and team.
Yeah, it's still morning here.
Okay.
But yes, that's all right. That's all right. I want to let people know how you and I met, and as I mentioned, as we were talking earlier, I can't remember how far back it was when you did the ASU GSV conference. I saw the panel discussion. But I was like, I have to reach out to this guy, and I did, and you were so kind to reach right back out to me. So I really appreciate it. You were quick to jump on. I thought right away, I'm like, we got this conference going. I'm wondering if you'd be interested in coming out. At that point, it was a face-to-face conference, but I was like, I'm also asked, and I asked, and you said, can we go visit Lambeau Field? I'm like, sure, you come out to the conference, we'll definitely go visit Lambeau Field. So I know there's a little backstory behind the Green Bay Packers and you being a big fan. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when I was a student teacher almost 30 years ago, my master teacher invited me over to her house, and her dog's name were Nitschke, Harnung, and Star. What kind of name is a Nitschke? And she told me about the lineman and Bart or Star, and then became a Green Bay Packer fan ever since. That was back in the early Brett Favre days, and then so much to cheer about over the years. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a cheesehead, man.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you didn't have to weather through all the tough times in the 70s and 80s, but you jumped in right at the right time, right at the right time. And I was just joking with Aaron when you and I talked last week about having you come up and maybe do some presentations or talk with other superintendents and then go visit a practice at Lambeau Field in the summer here. And you said, no, let's not do the presentations or group work with superintendents. Let's just have a vacation. So we definitely have to try to make that work.
Sounds good.
You know. Well, let's see what you got. We're ready to go. Very excited to have you involved in our conference here and kick her off. Let's go.
Yeah, well, Aaron Black shared a ton of great ideas, and I have some content about the World of Work, which is a career development curriculum that we built here that starts in kindergarten and unpacks career development for kids through high school. But we talked about, Scott, that, it's the what, but how do you actually move a system?
Yeah.
And what we talked about was culture and creating a culture of innovation. So I'm going to share some of the things that we did simultaneously alongside our initiative for comprehensive career development that enabled the work to happen. So our mission is to be the best place to live, work, play, and raise a family with a vision of happy kids engaged in healthy relationships on a path to gainful employment. And that's something that everyone in our organization can articulate, or they should. And what I want to start with is early in our implementation of one-to-one, we got invited to Google's campus up in Northern California, and there was a conference called Rework. And Laszlo Bach, who's the chief people officer to the left there, had created this conference with the notion of how do you make work suck less? And fascinating, like that would be great. Like, how do we make work suck less? And so he talked about
it. We had the epiphany a while back that you actually spend more time working than you do doing anything else in life. I mean, if you add up the hours, particularly now that we all got devices and we're connected all the time, you spend more time working than you do sleeping. You spend more time working than you do on your favorite hobbies and favorite activities. And the crazy thing is you spend more time working than you do with the people most important to you in the world. Your spouses, your family, your parents, your best friends. You spend more time with these people you work with. And it's kind of crazy. It's crazy that for most people in the world, work is not better than it is.
And so there was a critic in the back of the room from Pearson, actually, a senior vice president, and she made a comment. She said, Laszlo, you guys just provide food for everybody. You have bicycles on campus. You have a pharmacy. you have a grocery store, you have a hair salon. You just want your employees never to leave Google, so they work themselves to death. And then Laszlo said, I think you misunderstand. You see, our people, our Googlers, are busy. There's blocking and tackling of life. They have to go to the dry cleaners. They have to get their hair done. They have to get their prescriptions filled. We want them to do those things between 8 and 4:30 so that when they leave Google, they can go home and play with their kids and be a spouse or go work out. We care about our people so much that we invest in their well-being. And that's, Laszlo would say, I think, that is just as pivotal to Google's success and everything else. So I went up to Laszlo and I said, how do we do this in public education where everything is scrutinized? You know, taxpayer dollars are scrutinized. And he said, it's about mindset. Think about Starbucks. We learned a lot from them. He said, Starbucks is not in the coffee business selling to people. They're in the people business selling coffee. And when you have that mindset that you're serving people, that you're in the people business, well, you do things like you give your employees discretion. You let them have creative control on problem solving. You pay for their tuition. You provide good health care and benefits. People first, and then the other parts come into play. And I thought about that's an interesting idea. So we hired Horst Schultz, who is the creator and founder of the Ritz-Carlton Company, and then Capella, which is a luxury brand. Cajon Krippendorf was a former McKinsey consultant. And we employed these strategies from Horst and Cajon Krippendorf is his name, to understand from a Fortune 500 perspective, what do the best companies do to attract and retain the best employees? And how does that strategy drive innovation and industry dominance? And so we used those over the last 5 years, those strategies to develop the mission, vision, and promise. And our mission again, live, work, play, raise a family, vision, happy kids, healthy relationships on a path to gainful employment. The 8 promises are our service standards. So be Cajon Valley. That means I'm going to wear the brand. Right now, I'm wearing a Cajon Valley shirt. I speak about the brand everywhere I go. Empower staff, include everybody in the decision making, emphasize relationships, focus on the relationship first, the people first before the process or the product. Communicate positively. You know, every opportunity to communicate is an opportunity to build a relationship. Even when it's an angry parent or a disgruntled employee coming in, how do we use that opportunity to build a relationship and communicate positively? And it goes on and on. And these things, I think, I'm going to go back to the late Ken Robinson. He talked about late in his career what the culture of innovation really is. And so we take a minute to enjoy some Ken Robinson.
So I think we have to embrace a different metaphor. We have to recognize that it's a human system and there are conditions under which people thrive and conditions under which they don't. We are, after all, organic creatures. And the culture of the school is absolutely essential. Culture is an organic term, isn't it? Not far from where I live is a place called Death Valley. Death Valley is the hottest, driest place in America, and nothing grows there. Nothing grows there because it doesn't rain, hence Death Valley. In the winter of 2004, it rained in Death Valley. 7 inches of rain fell over a very short period. And in the spring of 2005, there was a phenomenon. The whole floor of Death Valley was carpeted in flowers for a while. What it proved is this, that Death Valley isn't dead. It's dormant. Right beneath the surface are these seeds of possibility, waiting for the right conditions to come about. And with organic systems, if the conditions are right, life is inevitable. It happens all the time. You take an area, a school, a district, you change the conditions, give people a different sense of possibility, a different set of expectations, a broader range of opportunities. You cherish and value the relationships between teachers and learners. You offer people the discretion to be creative and to innovate in what they do. And schools that were once bereft spring to life. Great leaders know that. The real role of leadership in education, and I think it's true at the national level, the state level, at the school level, is not and should not be command and control. The real role of leadership is climate control, creating a climate of possibility. And if you do that, people will rise to it and achieve things that you completely did not anticipate and couldn't have expected.
It's probably been a while since any of us have heard that voice. Scott, I'm curious, how, what are your reaction response to Sir Ken and his words of wisdom there?
Yeah, it takes me back to kind of that simplicity part of it that we just overthink a lot of the times in our leadership roles or in education. That it's really kind of right underneath our feet and we don't even know it. It's good
Yes.
stuff.
Climate and culture, and one of the things that we learned early on is the culture of an organization is shaped by the worst behavior the leader's willing to tolerate. We all have those, if you think about our past, those toxic people that were in our teachers' rooms, our staff lounges, or the people in a parking lot that are driving negative conversations. And leadership is also not just about what you promote, but what you don't tolerate. And eliminating some of that toxicity will allow others to feel safe in your schools and buildings. And we do that with the Gallup Q12. This is the industry standard to measure employee engagement. These 12 questions, and then there's 3 that we add on, are asked of every employee every year. And so think about like down the middle, Q5, 6, 7, and 8. My supervisor or someone at work cares about me as a person. There's someone who encourages me. Number 7, at work, my opinions seem to count. In education, we score very low as an industry. Teachers don't feel that they have a say in their content, the curriculum, or even their workflow. And the mission makes me feel important about my job. These are things that if you're answering 5s, that the engagement is right. We also measure different things with students: student engagement, student hope, student belonging, and student social emotional learning. And Gallup's been a great partner for us. We use this data to work with our parents, our staff, and our community in terms of stakeholder engagement to measure things other than just academic success. What do the parents want from their school when they drop their children off? Well, they want happy kids and healthy relationships on the path to gainful employment. And part of the way we do those things are community celebrations. We have been known as a flash mob viral video district, and I'll show you a piece of that.
Wow.
I'll stop there. So we shut down Main Street. In the video was the mayor, our chief of police, city council members, business owners, but the dancers were custodians, office staff, teachers, principals, school board members. And the purpose of community building and investing in the culture is not about a viral video. It's about the process of coming together to have a reason to make new friends. This year, our song is going to be I Can See Clearly Now. We're going to have a musical rendition performed by our staff. Nobody knows this yet, so this is like embargoed information. But that's going to be revealed soon here in the district, and it's something that we look forward to every year.
Wow.
District, they were also involved in today's flash mob. Yeah, Elko police were there, Heartland firefighters, even some city council members.
Those guys are good.
Legit.
You say
Those guys have beat us up in the press, so I almost cringe when I play this one, but we've developed this reputation and expectation that we are going to come together, that our Welcome Back Breakfast is going to be a celebration, that over the summer we'll be making music videos. And all throughout the year, we've shown our principals how they can utilize their culture budgets to make things work there. And the result, when you have a family culture where people feel engaged, when they feel like they want to be there for everybody else, then the things you want to do in innovation in our classrooms can happen.
CV Conference is multiple days of professional learning for classified and certificated staff in Cajon Valley. We like to end our conference with something fun and light and motivating to kick off the new year. This year, our theme is the 80s.
It's just a great time to build those relationships with your staff, with your coworkers before the year starts.
We're more than a number here. We're actually a family, and I feel we have the opportunity to have so much input in moving forward in everything this district is doing to meet the needs of all of our students.
CV conference is great because you get a chance to learn new things and connect with people and have a positive start to school year. There's a lot of things I've done in my 31 years that I think can help, but then there's teachers that have been here 1 year and can teach me new things.
This was a great opportunity for me to see what is going on in the schools, the impact the programs that we implemented have on these students.
What's nice about this experience is it's not just a bunch of people shuffling from class to class. There's a theme, you get a chance to show your creativity. It makes it more fun. It makes it more lively. It's entertaining. It's not just this thing that you have to do, but it's the thing that you want to go to.
We have over 100 sessions being offered. We have sessions for everybody. We want to make sure everyone felt included and have a place where they can go learn specifically for their content.
Those conferences did help me a lot doing my job in a more professional way. Being part of Cajon Valley community, it was really a good experience.
When you're part of the Cajon Valley team, you are part of something bigger that no one else is doing. And I think the big picture is hearing the message. What are we all trying to achieve? And it is the vision. It is our mission. It is about happy kids and healthy relationships on a path to gainful employment.
And so we have created a culture where all the departments and all the different schools, that's child nutrition up in the upper left, personnel top right, warehouse and logistics in the bottom right, and then Cajon Valley Middle School in the bottom left, of culture. And it's not free. So a lot of the things that we provide our principals are discretionary money. And so several years ago, we asked our board to give each school a culture budget so they could spend it on team building, on food, on fun and swag, and it's protected for that, so that it's not the district that's leading all this work, but principals have the creative freedom to try something new or do something fun or take a field trip with their entire staff and do something and really build the community that will support the innovation that we want. The other thing we did was we started asking teachers several years ago before the pandemic, what are the things that you spend money on that you wish the district would pay for? And these are some of the things that came up. They wanted healthy snacks in the staff room for them, like to be in abundance. They bought candy for their kids, and we thought, you know what, they're going to do it anyways. Let's just provide it. Fidget spinners and things that they could put in their rewards boxes. So they had student incentives. And our primary classrooms would spend money on developing film. They would actually use them to put pictures of their kids' faces next to their bulletin boards. And so we said, you know, we're going to take all those things off your plate, and then we're going to cover those, and then we'll ask the same question again next year. And the other thing that we did was teachers said, I think this company's gone now, but Teachers Pay Teachers was something that a lot of our teachers were spending money on. So we bought a district-wide account for them to do that too. And relatively to our general budget, which is $350 million, it was a drop in the bucket. But in terms of how it was received, that's how you get better Gallup scores. You understand what are the needs. Do teachers have what they need to do their job best? Do they feel supported? Do their opinions count? And so we anchor again on the Q12. One of the interesting things is if you look at Q10, I have a best friend at work. And you think, why would you ask that question? And we asked Gallup, and what Gallup said was, when employees are struggling or they're going through a crisis, whether it be at work or at home, if they have a best friend at work that they can confide in, then their ability to actually get through the day, get through the week, and feel like they can actually make it through whatever they're going through is much higher. And employee retention is much higher. So create opportunities for not just friendships, but lasting friendships. And that's, again, why we create those opportunities for people to come together on cross-functional teams to make a video or to do a project or to plan an event. These are the things that Gallup has taught us that matter and we believe. And so between 2018, 19, and 20, we went from a 3-to-1 ratio to a 10-to-1 ratio. And Gallup looked at us and said, your data is an anomaly to move that quickly, that fast. But with intentionality and focus and providing examples for principals, I think one of the key things for us is we didn't tell the principals how to do it. We just said, these are things we're doing as a district. How can you do this with your school community? And allowed them the creative freedom and the discretion to do that on their own. So you have 28 different examples of employee engagement at a high level. And I'm going to finish with this before I move into the world of work. In 2020, something happened in the world. And when you have a highly engaged staff where the culture is built around trust, you can do amazing things. So this is our school board president in the bottom left from the hat. Narelle Winter is the CEO of Bostonia Global. He's standing up in the back. Behind him are the executive board from our teachers union. And this is, I think, 6 weeks into the pandemic. We came together to have a conference on how to reopen our schools.
In 2 months, seems to have more kids out of school. Sorry, wanting to be at school, then we talked about space work based on social distancing. So one of the main questions that's coming around is how do we prioritize which students are actually coming to work?
And these were early conversations in the very beginning of the pandemic of, okay, here's distance learning. Everyone's going to do that. Free childcare for essential workers. This was a tricky one. It wasn't mandatory in California, but our families, when we surveyed them, said, if you provide a space for our children, we will send them because we both have to work. And so we used that as a roadmap, the free childcare for essential workers, to build a model for how to reopen schools. And in April, May of 2020, we were the only district in the United States to open at scale for all of our kids that wanted to come back. And I'm just going to share a little bit of that video, not the whole thing.
Through their computers to.
So I'm in law enforcement. My wife is a nurse. It's been a little stressful for us not knowing exactly what we're going to do since we both work this program. It's been a blessing for us.
This is a great way to share our ideas with each other and make our world a better place.
Having the opportunity where we can send our children back to an environment that they're familiar with, they hadn't seen, and we're missing so much, was really helpful.
Our schools are a place where students go for safety, for food, and that security and that routine. And in a time of turmoil in our lives with COVID, schools have just really become a safe place for students.
You know, some Cajon Valley Union School District students return to class today.
When I learn at school, it makes me feel like I can do more with my friends around me because they believe in me.
Every single day, my students say it was the best day ever. They're so excited to be here. I can tell they're smiling underneath their masks. So it's just been nice to be able to be back doing what we love in this new adapted way.
Cajon Valley School District is the largest in the state to open for in-person learning, thanks to one of the few waivers that was granted.
Really seeing this.
So that full video is on our YouTube channel. It's just basically the timeline of how we shifted and served all of our families that needed it. It wasn't political. 80% of our students are in poverty, and all the parents had to work. So they left their kids home alone while they went to work. And our teachers saw them through their Chromebook screens at home, trying to care for their younger siblings and really struggling. So our employees came together and said, how can we open our schools to serve our community? And when you think about it, it was the classified and certificated staff, along with the leadership of our principals, that came together during a time where no one else was doing it to innovate. And without the culture and the trust that we had built over time, there'd be no way that our employees would have come together to do what they did in that way. And the last piece I want to share in terms of culture and community is our parents. We have, again, 80% of our families live below the poverty line. And so we have strategies to help our staff understand and empathize poverty simulation is something that was developed by Karen Mapp out of Harvard, Center on Family Engagement. This is what that looks like.
I have a part-time job, but I just quit because they weren't paying me nearly enough to even put my kid in childcare. So it made no sense to even go.
We got evicted and now we have to find a place to live.
It's just really hard. It really touched me.
Welcome to the poverty simulation.
That and then two other strategies, positive home visits and family teacher teams. We've changed the way we do parent-teacher conferences, and we take the opportunity as more of a community building opportunity that, again, we learned from Karen Mapp's group.
She asked us what our hopes and dreams were for our children. It was really extremely heartwarming to be in a room with all the other parents and kind of listening to what their hopes and dreams are for their kindergartner as well. So my hopes and dreams for my daughter is that she remains very kind and gentle like she is. She's so compassionate towards other kids, and I hope she never loses that. When she was going over individual progress and where each child was at, for one, I just love that she had a folder for every parent with our child's information in it. It felt very personalized. She had us fill out a piece of paper writing where we want to see our child by the end of the semester so that she can personally make sure that our child.
That happens 3 times a year. And so emphasizing relationships, deep relationships between not just parents and the community, but employees and parents, including our family and community engagement department. This last story is one of my favorite stories to tell. In August of 2021, we have one of the largest Middle Eastern refugee populations in the country, large subsection of students from Afghanistan. And most of our refugees from Afghanistan served in the US military as interpreters. So they're actually allies, as our US Armed Forces would say, so heroes. They had gone to Afghanistan to see their families because of the change in government and probably the last time they'd be able to visit. But in August of 2021, the US pulled out unexpectedly. And so all of a sudden, our families were stranded in Afghanistan, and they called Freyduna Mohammed, or there up in the upper left, and said, we're going to have a hard time coming back. Can we hold our spot at Chase Elementary for my second and third grader? They were saying that, please hold my child's spot in school. And what we said was, how are we going to help them get home? Because there was no more effort from the US government side to bring any more people home. So we were just blatantly offensive in the way we went after our political leaders and news media, drawing attention to the fact that, hey, these are US citizens that are stuck without a path forward to come home. So I got calls from Anderson Cooper, from Jake Tapper, from all these people that had relationships with non-government organizations and expatriates that were living in the Middle East to coordinate a grassroots effort to utilizing the intelligence on WhatsApp with our community liaisons to communicate families to get to safe houses, to then get to places where they can find passage to Qatar and then or Turkey and come back home. And in September 2021, we were able to announce that all families that were stranded in Afghanistan were safely home. And that was because of our employees, but also the high levels of trust of our parents to give them information in this home that we call El Cajon. And I'm going to stop there for now because that's a transition, Scott. And before we go into some of the innovation, would love to entertain some questions or just hear your thoughts.
I do have a couple questions. Maybe share with with those that are participating with us here today. What's the size of your school? What's the size of your community? And where are you located specifically down in the San Diego area?
Thank you. Yeah, so we're in the eastern part of San Diego. And so if you can land in San Diego, it's about 20 miles east, very hot and desert-like out here. We are one of the highest poverty, actually, I think we are the highest poverty community in the San Diego region. You don't typically think of San Diego as high poverty, but because of our proximity to the border and Section 8 housing, we have one of the largest refugee populations from the Middle East and North Africa, Sudan, Jordan, Turkey. And so 40 different languages, very diverse, very high poverty. high English learner population, 28 schools, 18,000 students. We chartered our first high school in 2020, and now we're a K-12 district, which we're excited about. And yeah, it's just an amazing, diverse community, and you see it, I think, in our videos, like the diversity in our student population.
Can talk a little bit, because this was something you and I talked about a while back, how you've evolved from a K-8 into now a full K-12 system, and there was an ask for that because of your school system, right?
Yeah, so we developed the World of Work, which is a comprehensive K-12 curriculum for career development and vocational identity, which I'll share a little bit about in a minute. And we were a K-8 district, so our kids would have this amazing immersive career development experience and then go to the high school district where it was just traditional. Traditional meaning the same as it was 100 years ago. And parents started to complain, like, what happened to the World of Work? What happened to TED Talks and all the modern curriculum that we'd implemented? And we said, well, we don't have jurisdiction over the high school district. So they asked us to start our own high school, and we did. We took field trips to Big Picture Learning and Da Vinci schools, High Tech High, some of the most progressive high schools in the country, and then came back and, with the help of Tom Vander Ark and Elliot Washer, two amazing education thought leaders, built our own high school.
Yeah. And just, was last year just the first year of your senior group?
Yeah, this year will be our second graduating class. It's just, it's so cool.
How
to see our kids
exciting.
go all the way through the process.
Yeah, maybe this will be a part of the next piece that you're gonna talk about, but I use your mission and your vision, I use a ton, to develop happy kids, living in a healthy relationship on a path to gainful employment. You know, you've got a lot on your website around your mission, your vision, and your promises.
Mhm.
Would you say, you know, how long has it taken to develop that culture to support it? And was the focus of the happy kids, healthy relationships, and gainful employment the focus of the center point, and then everything else built out from there?
It's really, it was one conversation at a time, and it was organic, because the first meeting I had with the city manager was, he sat me down and I asked him, I said, Doug, you oversee the police department, the fire department, public works, everything taxpayer funded except the schools. If we were yours, what would you have us do? And he looked at me and he said, Miyashiro, you're asking the right guy, because I'll tell you what, you got to stop stigmatizing the most important work in this country. You have the Navy and the Marines right here, Pendleton and the Navy station, and you don't show civilian and non-civilian jobs. You don't show the military as an option. And in East County, San Diego, we're home to the biggest commercial development organizations in the region. We build San Diego. So developers, contractors, skilled labor said, you stigmatize hard work. And these kids can make $75 an hour prevailing wage if they want to work right out of high school and have the company pay for their post-secondary learning. That was my first meeting with the city manager. And so he started talking about gainful employment in East County, and then conversations with parents and families. What it came down to is listening to them was, we want our kids to be happy, self-aware, have self-esteem, be cared for by the school. We want them to be valued by their peers, but also the adults, healthy relationships. And we want our kids to have a better life than we have. We want them to be able to find a career that would surpass what I did. And that's where we came with our vision, listening over time. And it became very clear what happy kids, healthy relationships on a path to gainful employment. But it wasn't a strategic planning session. It wasn't a day. It was, you know, it was really just conversations over time, and then listening to the language and helping that language form into something succinct.
Yeah, that's key right there, where with what you just said, is it was organic over time. Whereas a lot of the times I think we provide a couple days, 2, 3, 4 days worth of, let's create a strategic plan. So it's very interesting how it has evolved from that starting point, but yeah.
And including everybody in the conversation too, including input, and then building maps with the language and showing like the evolution of that over time. But yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get into some of the content?
Yeah, let's see it.
All right. So probably skip through some of the early slides. This is PTSD of No Child Left Behind. I took over one of the worst performing schools in the state of California as my first principalship over 20 years ago. And the superintendent said, David, get this school out of program improvement, improve test scores in language arts and math. And so with a laser-like focus on a program improvement year 3 school, we focused on teaching kids how to bubble in those little Scantron seats and eliminate the wrong answers, and taught them strategies. We did so well in the next 3 years that the state of California sent proctors into our classrooms because they thought our teachers were cheating. And so I'm ashamed of this statement now. I said, we won, today was the best day, but for who? For the adults. You know, we celebrated, but what was happening to the kids? The kids, even though they were advanced and proficient, were still dropping out of high school, still going into generational gangs, and weren't changing their life outcomes. And the teachers saw it because over time, these kids that we were, you know, getting ready to take the test, their engagement was almost like non-existent. School became less fun. We eliminated arts and enrichment programs, all in the name of accountability, chasing these metrics that matter, but there's also other data that matter. So in San Diego, when I started here in Cajon Valley, this graphic was introduced to me. Opportunity, kids that are age 16 to 24 that are not working and not in school. This is a national problem, not just in Cajon Valley. And globally, we're studying this, like what's happening as a result of a system that's not aligned with the world of work, that's not creating the right pathways and opportunities for kids to understand who they are and where they might fit. And research from Raj Chetty out of Stanford says that zip code bakes destiny. You can predict, economic mobility by where the child was born. And in El Cajon, we don't accept that because 80% of our kids are born into poverty. So we said we have to do something different.
When I grow up, I want to file all day. I want to climb my way up to middle management, be replaced on a whim. I want to have a brown nose.
I want to be a yes man.
Yes, woman. Yes, sir. Coming, sir. Anything for a raise, sir. When I grow up, I want to be underappreciated. Be paid less for doing the same job. I want to be forced into early retirement.
I'll take early retirement. Actually, those are not Cajon Valley kids. But we share that as an example of some of the conversations that we're not having in our schools. One of the most interesting data points, I think, is that the number of dollars in outstanding student loan debt. And there's controversy over, do we forgive it? Do we repay it? Are we paying it back? How did we get here? These are the kids that were successful. They've graduated high school, they filled out a FAFSA, they got accepted to university, and now we're holding the bag on loans that we can't pay off because we either didn't complete or we are not using the studies in our major to make money. And so when we start to look at all this data all together, we have to start to think about things differently. This is where our board meets. The mission is right there in the middle, live, work, play, and raise a family. The vision is right above the dais. And I credit our trustees. They have local control here, and they ran on the slate Common Sense, Not Common Core in 2016 and gave us creative freedom to develop the world of work, TED presentation literacy, start looking at different types of data, career financial literacy, hope and engagement, measuring that in our schools, and creating a trajectory that would align with our mission to close the gap between education and the world of work. This is one of my favorite quotes that we use often. John Adams said there ought to be 2 educations, teach kids how to live and how to make a living. And we can argue that we don't do either as a system very well. So this is our early years of one-to-one back in 2013. With data privacy and security, we're able to get single sign-on, move our system from a teacher-centric to a student-centric environment by preparing our teachers for the modern world. And in our district, we talked about technology, if used correctly, it's how it's used in medicine. It takes some of the blocking and tackling of data and analysis and testing away from the nurses and doctors and gives more time for relationships and bedside manner, less tech, more human. When every kid and every teacher has a laptop for their learning, you can do creative things with curriculum. And so I shared a little bit about our TED Talks and World of Work. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail here. It started as an event. We had a local San Diego State University event, a TEDx America's Finest City, participated in that, and we thought this would be great for our community. So we tried it here.
Why is kindness important? Kindness is important because being kind is the foundation and the key to peace. And we need to build peace. Our world is really one big family. Hope is where we are. Our journey had just begun. A bully's like a big grizzly bear. So when you see him, play dead. No, seriously, ignore the bully.
That was Jose Saavedra in first grade. This is presentation literacy. It's not just about the idea, it's about how do you give feedback and coaching so the kids get better and better and better each year at delivering a TED-like talk.
Trust wants to get a reaction. If he doesn't receive it, he will get bored and move on.
This is Jose 4 years later at San Diego State University. President De La Torre is in the orange in the middle.
Jose Saavedra, who's a fourth grade student at Bastonia Language Academy in El Cajon. At a very early age, with the help of his first grade teacher, Jose discovered his love for public speaking.
For years, there has been a sewage issue in our border between San Diego and Tijuana that have prevented us from enjoying our beaches with freedom and have also affected the population and nature of both regions. Los niveles de contaminación del agua en el río San Diego han aumentado enormemente en los últimos años.
And this is Jose just a couple years ago. And I told him, Jose, do you know I use you in my presentations? And he said, that's okay, Dr. Miyashiro. I use you in my presentations too.
Todavía recuerdo las palabras de nuestro superintendente, David Miyashiro.
He wasn't lying. But it started again with an event, and we maintain the event every year. It's one of our annual community builders. But what we learned is that most kids don't have enough life experience to give an 18-minute TED Talk. And the curriculum that the TED organization put out is really designed around the high school experience and how to get high school communities to come together and share stories and really think about ideas we're spreading to change the world. And so we focused a little bit different. We asked TED if we can have creative freedom with their curriculum to build it down to start in kindergarten and to focus more on telling their story. And we've been in great partnership with them for the last 10 years.
Do you shower with that on? Do you have hair under there? Are you bald? These are the type of questions I get when I'm wearing my hijab. Imagine every time you leave your house, you know you have to be ready to expect hateful and cruel comments thrown at you. Hey there, I'm Rakea. I'm an ordinary young girl living life. I am full of dreams that will hopefully become true. I'm a hijabi. That means a girl with a scarf on her head. I came here to talk to you about my life as a hijabi.
That courageous talk started in her classroom in a circle. And in a diverse district like ours, where you have people from the Middle East coming from war, both on the Muslim and Christian side, living in the same community, helping them to build communities, it needs intentionality. And TED really helps us do that by having each person tell their story and know them deeply and well in their classroom. Another thing was how do we engage special education and our students with significant needs?
The tics that cause involuntary movements or sounds when you have Tourette's syndrome. For instance, you might repeatedly blink your eyes, shrug your shoulders, or make unusual sounds. As I speak to you today, I don't want you to feel bad for me. I want to inform you on what many kids and adults are battling every single day. When I was younger, I always had some strange things I would do without even knowing.
That's Max, obviously has Tourette's syndrome, and all of our kids at some point say, "When I was younger," and it's so cute to hear that. This curriculum is called TED Ed, and it's free online at ed.ted.com. We've customized it to make it a kindergarten through 12th grade curriculum, and happy to share that with anybody here that's interested. It's all free and licensed through TED. They're the ones that have made this available, but it helps us tell our story. And I'm going to share one more student TED Talk before I move into the world of work and then finish up here. This is Benosha when she first came to the country.
Waiting is the most difficult thing in the world because you can't do anything for your future and you only waste time in waiting without knowing what will happen to you and your family. My family and I moved from Iraq to Jordan on January 12, 2011. We spent almost 5 years in Jordan waiting for our resettlement to the United States.
Benosha giving a TED Talk as an EL in the beginning of her education. 7 years later, after going through 7 more years of presentation literacy and the world of work, she's giving a talk as a junior in our first graduating class. This is the same child.
Having a TED Talk at the age of 11 as a newcomer to the United States was and still is one of my biggest accomplishments so far. Today, I am attending the new high school established by our district, where we have the opportunity to explore our abilities. In addition, we choose our career path through the World of Work program that we started taking in middle school and elementary school. This program is focused on giving a chance to students to explore the careers that they like by giving them a chance to have an internship 2 times a week where they can explore their interests and gain experience.
How are we doing on time, Scott? We want to live some time at the end, or
Well, go as long as you need to cover what you'd like. We do have the Q&A later this afternoon that people can go to also. And people can drop questions in the chat, as we finish up here too.
Okay, I'll just do a brief overview of the world of work. It started at Qualcomm, which is one of the tech giants here in San Diego. And on the top floor of that building there with a school bus in front, Ed Hidalgo, he was our chief innovation officer for some time, created a one-day experience called the World of Work at the Think of It Lab. It's still in existence in Virginia and parts of San Diego. But what we learned is that kids are not learning just about being an engineer. They're learning about all the jobs at Qualcomm. So what he did was he took them through a strengths, interest, and values exercise for most of the day to help develop their self-awareness, and then looked at their strengths, interests, and values and how they align with the different careers at Qualcomm. So human resources, advertising and marketing, health and well-being, the legal team. Basically, every organization and even every school district has departments where different skills are required. And the idea at the Qualcomm Think of It Lab was we can find strengths, interests, and values in every kid and aim that somewhere in the organization. But only 30 of our kids per year could go there. And so how do we make it available for all 18,000? Our board invested in the development of the World of Work curriculum. We created grade level specific resources and things that teachers would use in their classrooms so that career development became a part of our district operations, not something that you go to as a field trip. It's part of the core curriculum. And basically, it's answering the question of who you are based on John Holland's typology, the RIASEC. So realistic, the doers, hands-on, investigative thinkers using math and science to solve problems. Artistic is not arts people, but creative people that use self-expression and imagination in their work. Social does not mean I'm a social person. Social is the helper theme. People that want to serve others, that are good with interpersonal communication. Enterprising would be me and Scott. We're the persuaders. We're the ones out there trying to change the world. And then the conventional organized thinking is like people that are good with facts, data, and figures and organizing things, event planners. We had our San Diego Workforce Partnership, our labor board, create priority sectors showing all the different careers around the RIASEC so that when our kids saw their classrooms, they see how that manifests in the workforce. Everything's in alignment. Even our junior colleges and community colleges, their themes, their majors are organized by the RIASEC. So daily classroom activities where kids read a book and then they self-select which character resonated with you. The idea is that kids will change over time and develop based on their experiences that we provide for them in career development of an identity unique to their experience. And here's what it sounds like when a child really understands their themes.
I learned about the RISEC and I am an enterprising persuader. I like to talk, speak out, and share my ideas. I like to stand up in front of my classmates and present projects. I think it would be fun to open my own business one day and sell things. The best part about being a persuader is making ideas that people might use in the future. Enterprising persuaders can change the world by taking risks and speaking up for others in need.
And if you ask any of our students, they should be able to tell you what your RIASEC is, and they'll give you 3 letters. This student is realistic and enterprising.
I took the RIASEC inventory. The themes that best fit me are realistic and enterprising. Today, I lead with realistic because I like doing things hands-on, like switching out parts on my skateboard, working with animals, tools, or machines. Most people with the realistic theme like working outside, in parks, athletic fields, farms, or even in the military. Some of the greatest skills realistic doers have are building, using tools and equipment, and really anything that involves hands-on doing. I appreciate things that I can see, touch, and use, and I like being physical and active. Realistic doers can use their unique interests to build a better world.
And it's even evident in the first grade classrooms using Seesaw.
Hi, my bracelet code is ACS. I'm artistic when I paint, use my imagination, draw, and create things. I'm conventional when I learn also because I like math and numbers and when I sort things. I am social when I help and be kind. Thank you for watching. Bye.
This first grader nailed it. Artistic, creative self-expression, conventional organizing, using math to solve problems, social, helping, and being kind. That's it. I mean, imagine if these kids every grade, every year have deep career explorations and get to reflect on what are the themes that are most like me and least like me. And this is our framework. Every grade, every year, kids explore specific careers around the RIASEC. They simulate them in their classroom. At the end of it, they meet a professional who is very impressed because the kids have so much prior learning and understanding of their job. And then the practice is high school. The reason this is important is kids will foreclose if we don't give them their experiences early.
Now, who would like to meet these people for real? My name's Tamsin and I'm a surgeon in the NHS.
My name's Lauren and I'm a pilot in the Royal Air Force.
My name's Lucy. I'm a firefighter in the London Fire Brigade. So who wants to know how to do an operation? I'm trying my stethoscope.
Put this in here. There you go. Now you're a proper fighter pilot.
So into your ears. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's really good. Much better. Yeah, it's much better than kids' one.
That's research out of the UK that shows that kids will foreclose on gender stereotypes, but also career typologies if they aren't exposed to things early and have a chance to visualize themselves in the role. So this is our original grid. Starting in kindergarten, kids learn about some of the basic people in the community: police officer, doctor, artist, teacher, baker. And we've developed project-based learning opportunities with slide decks and resources for teachers to take kids through the simulations. They do that every grade, every year. And at the end of every grade, every year, they reflect on least like me and most like me. We partnered with Beable several years ago, who took our curriculum and put it into their technology platform. So now it's literacy plus college and career development, where our teachers have easy access to the content materials and our kids can engage right away with the material through their literacy block.
I like the RISEC because I love the world of work and everything, and I like to discover all my jobs and my personality. And And then when I'm older, I get to have like a life to live, maybe a family, pet, a house.
And these are the simulations in the classrooms. And then the resources are downloadable on our intranet, but also now through the Beable platform. So you saw the mail carrier. It's a realistic and conventional theme. Teacher will download the slide deck and the resources and customize it for themselves. Meet a Pro is out in the community, and this is probably the most fun.
The Cajon Valley School District is doing amazing things. This is not just innovative from a San Diego planning perspective. This is innovative from a world perspective.
There can be a large disconnect between the actual workplace environment and what you're learning in school.
Oh, children, are you ready to go on an adventure with me? Because today we're going to go on an adventure to tell you all about costuming in theater.
It's not every day that we do so much live discussion and conversation. So that was a turning point for us. So I have to thank the World of Work program.
Teaching young scientists how to extract DNA from their shoot cells. Illumina is so important as we unlock human health with the power of the genome. And these young scientists are going to help us in the future.
I think it's important to the community. I think it's important to people. I think it's important to the environment. I love doing it.
This has been such an amazing experience just because I've gotten to do what I've always loved to do. It's amazing to show it to children and people thinking about doing it. And you can do anything you put your heart out to.
It's really awesome to be able to mentor and help share some things that have really helped me along in life. Just to see the smiles on their faces and the energy was just an awesome day all around.
And I think that this gives kids some tangible ideas about how they might think about their skills and their talents and put that to work in the future.
No matter what your strengths, interests, and values are, you have your place here at SeaWorld.
You know, they say that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And so find your happy place, find the thing that you like to do, and then go ahead and work to increase your talent in that thing.
So important for these students to know there's a bright future right here in our hometown.
I grew up through foster care and I was adopted and I was taking care of the community that was all around me. Now it's my turn to take care of the community.
Cajon Valley is the best place to live, work, play, and raise a family.
And level 4 is our high school, which we started in 2020. Our kids spend 40% of their time out in the community. With deep vocational identity, they're able to pitch themselves to local businesses, and they have to secure their own mentorships and then eventually paid apprenticeships. And because we're one of the largest employers, actually we are the largest employer in El Cajon, we have a lot of opportunities right here in our district, helping to build our own workforce, all around interest fit, demand, and then an individual pathway for every scholar. And I got through my entire slide deck pretty much.
Nice. That's perfect. I got a ton of questions, but we're running out of time and I can't join you this afternoon. I'm in a different session, but one question I do have, and I've been asked this a few times around the Beable platform. What are you seeing in regards to reading improvement through that type of a platform rather than just even a general approach to, reading?
Yeah, because we have such significant language learners, like a lot of the last 2,000 kids that came to us came straight from refugee camps. So they don't even have a first language and they're learning English, like with no English at all. And they're taking standardized tests. So we have to focus on growth, measuring where they are and showing growth trajectory. So tools like iReady or Beable or multiple measures help us to show growth because our standardized test scores are going to be awful. Kids cannot read them and they still have to take them in California, probably the same in Wisconsin, at least for now. We'll see what happens with testing with the new federal regime, but we need to measure growth and we're able to do that.
Yeah.
There's one question. How would you respond to those who perceive early vocational career awareness as overly professionalizing or pigeonholing our young learners? And I say because we have every kid have to explore careers across all the different RIASEC and do that every year, we're helping them not foreclose and pigeonhole. And we know that we hope that they will change over time and not pigeonhole themselves. But as they have new experiences and conversations, that they'll start to shape their vocational identity by the time they're in 8th, 9th grade. So it's not about pigeonholing. It's the opposite of that. We want to expose them to everything on the buffet menu.
Other questions from those that are attending? And for some reason, I can't see the responses or questions, but looks like you can, David.
There's only one, and then
Oh, okay.
Falana. Hi, Falana. She's a friend, so I know who she is.
Oh, okay. Well, I really appreciate taking the time. We're at the end here, and for those that are on this afternoon, again, Aaron Black and David will be in session 9 from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. So Q&A, stop in and have a conversation with them and ask all the questions that you like. But David, really appreciate you taking the time. A lot of great information. I'm sure we'll be in touch because you're going to definitely have to come visit and go up and take a peek at one of the practices. If not, maybe we'll get you to a game.
Yeah, you promised. I'm
Yeah.
gonna take you up on
Yes.
it.
All right.
I go
For
back.
sure. We'll have a good time.
Sounds
We'll have a
good.
time. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you later in the other sessions. Bye-bye.